All right, so today we're going to be going over the structure of the SHSAT. That's coming up soon, so it's a really, really good idea to know what exactly the problems you are dealing with are going to be like. So we have two main sections in this exam. We have the English section and the math section. Now, both are 57 questions, so you don't have to worry about there being more questions about one topic than the other, but each section is composed of different things. So in the English section, we have two main components. We have the revising/editing section, and we have the reading comprehension. Now, for the revising and editing, there's around 8 to 11 questions sometimes that involve grammar, punctuation, and passage editing. Now, the reason why I said sometimes is because sometimes there is more questions than normal. So I've seen in the handbook, one of the practice tests have 16 questions, which is typically a lot more than the average test. So really you want to be prepared for the worst. And after these revising/editing questions, we have the reading comprehension. Now, there's usually 5 to 6 passages, typically a mix of fiction, nonfiction, and poetry. And because of this variety, it's very important that you're able to work with a variety of genres. Now, the number of questions for reading comprehension isn't exact either, but know that if there's more revising/editing questions, you will have far less reading comprehension questions, and vice versa. So you want to make sure you're prepared for that. The reading comprehension section usually tests your ability on making inferences, context clues, making conclusions from the text, etc. Now, the other section of the exam is the math section, which is also composed of 57 questions. Now, this part is a bit confusing, but there are 5 grid-in questions. I want you to think of these questions as open-ended questions, where you have to bubble in your answer. Now, this isn't like your typical multiple choice question. You can see an example of a grid-in question right over here. You have to come up with this answer without any choices to support you. And then after you find your answer, you're going to have to bubble in your answer in one of these little grid-ins. So that's what basically grid-in questions really are. And now the other 52 questions on this exam are multiple choice questions. These typically really just are topics that you've learned in class, for example, basic algebra, adding numbers, fractions, decimals, etc. For this section, you will not have a calculator, which is kind of unfortunate for some of you, but that's just how it is. You have to figure out all the math by hand. Now, one common misconception is that students tend to think that you can't switch between the English and the math section, which is incorrect. You can actually work and start on either section, but you want to try to make sure that you're able to finish the whole test by the 3-hour mark, which means you have 180 minutes to complete 114 questions. Now, this seems like a very tedious test at first, but with enough practice, with enough diligence, I am sure you'll be able to do fine and get into your dream school. If you have any questions about the structure, please let me know in the comments below, and thank you for watching.